Hi everyone. Can you believe it? We're already here at week 6. You've made it this far, and just around the corner are midterms. So just a reminder that next week, due October 15th, you will have a cumulative quiz, and that will be a midterm. And it will be 30 multiple choice, true, false questions, that sort of thing that we've been doing mostly throughout this course. There will be at least five to 10 short answer questions, as well as a couple of essays. And you will have 2 hours to complete it. So make sure that you plan. It will be available starting next week on Monday, which, let me just check the date here, will be the 16th, will be the 9th. So you'll have a full week to prepare yourself, to do some studying, and then make sure you have a 2-hour time block. It will be unlike the other quizzes that you can't come back in and out of them, but you have to have a set apart 2-hour time frame when you can focus on completing that task. And again, that's just to make sure that we're retaining this wonderful information. Excuse me. So also just to point out that this week's assignment will be your revised research proposal. So go back, please, and look at the rubric, all the notes that I gave you on your research proposal. I noticed that some of you couldn't see them at first, so I've now hopefully made them available. If you still are having trouble finding my notes about your research proposal, let me know, because this week's assignment is to revise that. And please continue to give me a call, email me, or meet with me during Skype office hours if you have any questions at all about your proposal for your research for this class. In general, most of you have fantastic ideas about what to do for your research. It just tended to be too huge for the scope of this semester and this level of course. So we're just kind of scaling it down a little bit. Same idea, but okay, we can use fewer participants. Remember that for a case study, it's enough really to just use 3 participants. So that is always a possibility. Sometimes even with a really close ethnographic study of one child, can be really valuable. What we're most interested here is that you're using some of this information from the course to take and apply to a really in-depth study of one particular topic. And you can look at it several times. I also know that some of you are taking this course for an Asian Studies minor, which is fabulous. We're so glad you're here. And I just wanted to remind you that this research project is a great place to integrate the Asian Studies minor material in. Okay, so you can do things like choose some music that you'd like to analyze, or different videos that you find online. All of those things would be linguistic material. See me if you need some more suggestions or ideas, or you just want to pass an idea by me related to that. So after your cumulative quiz is due on October 15th, then the next week's assignment will be the actual research plan, so drafting out a sort of timeline for when you're going to do your observations, or create your survey, and when you're going to distribute it and how, just to make sure that we're starting to get the ball rolling, because here at the middle of the semester, we're going to blink our eyes and we're going to be there at the end. So we don't want it to catch anyone off guard. And most of you, I'm sure all of you, are really wonderful, motivated students from what I've seen. I'm just so impressed with how you've been keeping up so far. So I really applaud you with that. And so keep up the great work. And I'm so excited about these research project proposals, which I've seen. They'll be fascinating to hear more about how you go through that. Now this week, is really, really fun topic of study. It is pragmatics. Okay, so that is the way we speak, and this, just a couple of examples. So if you notice below this video, we have a couple different videos. One of them is from the Big Bang Theory, and it goes into the please pass the butter conversation, which is a very humorous episode from a conversation between Amy and Sheldon. And Sheldon at one point says, "Now I don't think you're taking this dilemma very seriously." And so then she acts in a certain way to make him believe that she's taking the conversation seriously. And all of these ways of speaking, of phrasing what you're saying, are related to pragmatics. She starts saying things like, "No way," okay? So she's responding to what he's saying. This is a high involvement type of interaction. Instead of just sitting back and listening, she's engaged. She's echoing his tone. She's repeating, using repetition, asking relevant questions. So all of these are things that you'll read about in the text, in the chapter for this week. And it's really fun to think about, how do I use that in the ways that I speak? A second video that you'll want to take a look at is Annie Hall Easter Dinner. And this is, of course, from Woody Allen's Annie Hall movie. And it shows a stark contrast between these two different families around the dinner table. Okay, one family being very quiet, okay, reserved. One person takes a turn speaking, then pause, then another turn. And then it shows his family. People are reaching across the table. It's loud. Everyone's talking over one another. There's tons of different conversations going on at the same time. So just take a look at that. And again, that's the high involvement, low involvement style of speaking that you see an example of. I've also done research on the mitigation of disagreement in peer review. So mitigation, just a fancy word to say softening of disagreement. So when you have to disagree with someone, usually, in a lot of cases, we make a concerted effort to use a very polite style of speaking. So instead of saying, "Well, that's awful," okay, you want to say, "Is there a different way you could word that?" Okay, or so I've studied this, and it's really interesting. So I'd like you during this week to think about the ways that you approach saying things to people. You might even think about this when you're sending a text or sending an email. There's some really funny videos of people writing text, and then they go delete, 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 right? How many times have we done that? We're like, "Oh, wait a minute. If I say that, is that coming across too harsh, or too, how's someone going to react to that?" So that's all about pragmatics. It's the words we choose to use, the tone, the style, in order to get across the correct message and meaning and politeness strategies. So it's all involved in this wonderful study of pragmatics and conversation. So as always, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. And I look forward to hearing from you and seeing your revised research proposals at the end of the week. Bye.